What's up, guys? Adventure 207 here. Got the somewhat famous wide body Blazer. We're finally doing a repaint on this thing so that everything matches and looks a lot better. Now initially I was going to strip this body and respray it. I started out doing the roof, realized how long it was going to take, decided, you know what, not going to bother doing that. I'm going to save myself the time, the labor, and also get myself the new sticker sheets and just buy a new replacement body. So it's what we've got here. Just standard Axial pre-cut replacement body. I'm going to do all my fender trimming and everything after it's painted, just like I did with the other one. The color I've got picked out for this thing is really cool. I think you're going to like it. And when we're done, the body and the fenders will actually match now. So I'm really excited about that. I've got the fenders here. I started sanding them down. I started with a 220 grit. I didn't really need to strip all of the paint off of them. I primarily just needed to get through the 3 layers of clear coat and smooth them out a little bit. Try to smooth out some of the rock scarring that's been on them. You can see I glued some pieces of styrene sprue from a model kit onto them just so I've got something to hold on to while they're painting. I'm going to let those dry a couple more hours before I start spraying these, but they're all cleaned up, ready to spray. Like I said, I started with 220 grit, went to 320, 500, then 1000. So they're all ready to go. This paint job is going to be a multi-step paint job. Don't quite want to give away the color just yet, but it will be backed with silver, and the silver will be backed with black to try to deepen the color up as much as possible. And then the whole thing is going to be covered with a pearl clear. The color that I chose for this truck, I could only get in Tamiya's TS line of lacquer paints. It wasn't available in their polycarbonate line. So I did some looking around on some of the RC forums, and it seems generally accepted by a lot of people that if you spray the inside of your body with a Tamiya polycarbonate clear first, you can spray their lacquer paints onto it, no problem at all. So we're going to try that out. Basically, the painting process is just going to be reversed from the fenders to the body. So the body will start with the clear, work our way back to the black. The fenders will start with a fresh coat of primer to cover up the bare resin. Then we'll start with the black, then the silver, then our color, then our clear. 100% the opposite of the body. And by layering all of the colors the same way on the body and the fenders, you have a much better chance of getting the color to match perfectly between them. Where here, you're spraying from the inside of a clear body with nothing behind the paint except whatever your last layer of paint is. Whereas here, you're spraying on the outside of a solid resin piece that has been primed. Now, as for the Blazer top, that is staying on it. However, that is also getting painted. Right now, I've just got it in primer. This is just Duplicolor sandable primer. That stuff works great. Once this is dried up good, I'll hit it with a few coats of Tamiya gloss white and then a few coats of just plain old Tamiya gloss clear, the same way I originally did the wide body kit that was on this truck. And I think that white top against the color that's going on this thing is just going to look awesome. Really, one of the primary reasons for deciding to get a new body for the new sticker kits was to have the tinted windows that come on the gray C10s. So that's a lot of why I decided to go that route. Alright, so as for body prep, this has been washed inside and out with warm water and Dawn dish soap. Obviously, it still has the protective film on the outside. You don't want to take that off until you've painted it. And then after that, I dried it out. And then I took and I wiped it down with a used dryer sheet to get rid of the static buildup that you get on these Lexan bodies. And then I followed that up with some of this old Tester's plastic prep. This stuff is 100% plastic safe for styrene bodies as well as Lexan bodies. This stuff they sold it for use with all of their old paints, including their old Pactra line of polycarbonate paints. So stuff works really well. I usually just wipe it on with a paper towel, and then using the dryer sheet first to get rid of the static. Any lint that comes off of the paper towels on the inside of your body, you can just blow that out with a little bit of compressed air. I actually use just my little compressor with my airbrush and just turn it up to 40 to 50 psi, and it does the job. So now the other nice thing about going with a new body versus respraying the old one is the new body comes with the window masks, so you don't have to cut your own. So I'll go ahead and get these put in. We'll get the first coat of clear put on the inside of the body, and we'll go from there. Alright guys, so the paint is all done. Completely forgot to grab the camera through all the steps, but came out awesome. Paint didn't really harden up great on the inside of the body, but it's good enough for what it is. I think really I was just rushing it, trying to get all the colors on as quick as possible. I allowed sufficient flash time in between coats that I didn't have any issues with solvent pop or anything like that. But, you know, I don't really know. This was only the second time I've ever painted Lexan. The first time was my 1RC modified, and that was literally just 2 colors. Did it wicked light just because I knew I was going to wrap that eventually anyways. So anyway, it's done. Really excited for you to see the color. So let's do the reveal. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed some of that B-roll. A little bit of the crawling footage. Decided I'd go ahead and throw that in there while I was already outside. Tried out a couple of new little lines out back. They're really nothing too crazy, but I think I'm going to call them the boat ramp and the sidewalk. I don't know. Let me know what you think. But anyway, it's been about a week and a half, I think, since I actually finished painting everything. Just been picking away at it a little bit here and there, in between filming some other stuff and filling orders and whatnot. Just bolted the cap back on tonight. I love the way this thing came out with the tinted windows. I used the tinted window stickers from the body kit for the cab, and then the windows in the Blazer top, I just took some real window tint and tinted the windows that came with the top. I mean, that Tamiya Pearl Blue, I believe it's TS89. Let me check. TS89 Pearl Blue with PS12 silver behind it and TS14, I think, black behind that, with Tamiya Pearl Clear on top. I used the TS line Pearl Clear for the fenders and the PS line Pearl Clear for the body. They don't match 100%. It's hard to get pearls and metallics to match perfectly on separate panels unless you really know what you're doing with your spray technique to make sure that you get the metal flake, or in this case the pearls, to lay down the same and consistently. And with something that's got as many curves as this body kit and painting from the inside of a Lexan body, that's not super easy to do, especially for me. I'm more used to airbrushes versus rattle cans. I mean, I could have decanted that paint and probably done it that way, but it's just as easy to spray it right out of the can. Tamiya cans spray super easy anyways. But, I mean, it's close enough. You really got to get it in the right light to see the difference. And honestly, even with that, I don't know how much of that is the light causing it to look different, the way it's hitting the different surfaces, or if the paint actually is a little bit different. It's hard to tell. Obviously, there's some darker spots and some lighter spots, especially up towards the top of the bed rails and around the tailgate area, where it's hard to get a consistent coat inside some of those crevices and stuff inside the body. But super happy with how it came out. Figured I was already outside shooting some B-roll anyways for the reveal. I had to hit a few rocks with it, get it upside down a couple of times, get the first rock scars out of the way. They're always the hardest ones. Now, for as long as I've had this body kit on this truck, and as hard as I've wheeled it, both on my indoor course as well as outside, I'm honestly surprised I have yet to break one of these fenders, especially the front ones, as thin as they are. And I mean, I've had this truck nosed up to a rock, pushing that nose back to the point that it bends the fenders a little bit, and they're still holding up good, all four of them, until tonight. I finally snapped one. Minor, I mean, just sucks that it waited until it's got a fresh paint job on it to do it, but that's the name of the game when it comes to this resin. This isn't the strongest resin on the market. There are stronger resins out there, more flexible resins out there, but this stuff is at a price point and a quality that is right up my alley. I've had a lot of experience with it, and honestly, these fenders were one of the, actually the first set of the final version that I printed, and I actually over-cured the rears a little on accident, so the rears are more brittle than they should have been anyways. And I'll go ahead and tell you the way I broke it, because this truck didn't just gingerly tumble down a rock face, and that's how I snapped it. I tried to catch it. Started to go. I tried to catch it. When I did, I misjudged it. Ended up jamming the body down onto the chassis, and at the time, I think the axle was fully flexed, and I pushed it down enough that the tire actually forced the fender out. Pretty sure that's what cracked it. Because, I mean, this thing has taken a lot of hard tumbles off the top of my crawler course, and the day that I had it over to Bald Mountain, I mean, I was beating on this thing as much as I could for the terrain that it was on. These things were all rock scarred up before I sanded them down for the repaint. They've just been holding up tremendously. Just takes one bonehead move to finally break one, but I'll just super glue it back together, keep running it. I mean, it's the bottom of the front piece is still held on with both screws. It actually broke right across that screw hole, so the top's a little loose, but probably use a little bit of E6000, put it in there with a toothpick to glue that back together. That way it's flexible and it's not as likely to just break the glue joint. But anyway, I guess that just about wraps this video up. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you back here next time.